Hey guys, welcome to another Anime Kingdom discussion review. This one will be on Sword Art Online 2, episode 10. So, the episode starts off with pretty much what happened at the ending of the last episode. And this time, as Sinon is staring at the gun, she starts to think about how she thought if she kept watching Kirito, then, she would understand one day the meaning, of strength. And then, boom, he fires and she closes her eyes, and she's like, huh? What happened? Because her health, nothing changed. And it turns out someone is shooting at Death Gun. So Death Gun's got to start running away, and he starts shooting at the guy too. And then that person throws a smoke grenade, and I guess at first they just thought it was a grenade. They didn't know if it was smoke, but so he runs away, and who is it? Like I said in the last episode, guys, of course Kirito is gonna come saving the day, rescuing her. Picks her up, starts carrying her, and they start running. And she's like, "That's enough, leave me." And I'm like, "Yeah, Kirito's gonna leave you? No, he's not. He's not that kind of guy." They then see like two motorcycles and a robot mechanical, horse, and I'm like, "The hell, a horse?" And she says, the horse is no good. It's good off road, but it's hard to use. And I'm thinking, that's what you said the last time with the motorcycles, and Kirito rode that super easily. But whatever. After that, they get on the motorcycle and start driving, and Kirito stops a little off and says, tells her to shoot the horse, take it out. But as she's aiming at it, she can't pull the trigger. She's still, pretty much not all there, freaking out a little. And so then all of a sudden, here comes Death Gun running at them, so they just try and drive away. But of course, what happens? Just as Kirito predicted, here comes Death Gun riding on a horse, and he's catching up to them. So I'm guessing the horse is faster than the motorcycle. Okay. So after that, you know, they're catching up and stuff. So at this rate, Death Gun will, be able to catch up to them. And Sinon is literally just freaking out behind Kirito, saying like, "Save her" and stuff. All this guy, save me, and stuff. And so Kirito says, she needs to shoot, shoot him. And she's like, she's pretty much saying she can't, she can't pull the trigger. She's freaking out. But he says, she doesn't have to hit him. She just needs to distract him. And she still says, she can't. So Kirito tells her, okay, then you drive and I'll shoot. And she talks about her gun and saying, how it's a part of her and she's the only one that can use it. So she ends up taking her gun, aiming at him, but she can't do it. She says she can't shoot, she can't fight anymore. But Kirito says, you can. Everyone can fight. It's just a choice of whether you should. And then at that point, Sinan's like, well, if I have a choice, then I choose not to fight. And I'm thinking, that's not a choice at the moment, though. And she's like, I don't want to suffer anymore. She thought she could be stronger in this world, but it was just an illusion. Then Kirito, he uses like his left hand to steer it, and keep it going. Turns like completely around and grabs her hand and the gun, and he says like, okay, he will help her shoot. She just needs to move her finger. So finally aiming, and she's like, oh, she can't do it. It's shaking too much. I'm thinking, yeah, hello, you're on a motorcycle driving bumps everywhere and stuff. And Kirito says, it's okay. The shaking will stop in 5 seconds. And I'm like, 5? What? How? Why? And then Kirito starts counting down like 3, 2, 1. And they got that thing, like, how when they aim, it shows the red line. It's like aiming at them. Uh-oh. And all of a sudden, woof, they go off like a ramp on the road or something and go flying. And then I was like, what the heck? And she's like, how can he be so calm, in this situation? And then she's like, no, it isn't that he's calm. He's just giving it his all. And he's not making excuses. You know, he's continuously choosing to fight with all his strength instead of making excuses, and that is the source of his strength. Then they fire, but it misses. She's like, "Oh no, it missed." But I'm guessing, I don't know if Kirito planned that, but it hits the truck right next to Death Gun, hits the gas tank, and boom! Of course, you know, like all the movies and stuff, it explodes. And of course, I actually on MythBusters, I think they proved that that's not possible. You can't do that. But after that, they get away. They're driving in the desert, and they stop in some cave to avoid, you know, the satellite scan. They then talk about how, you know, Death Gun can go invisible, and how that's how probably how he avoided, you know, the scans. And Sinan, yeah, says, yeah, what he's using is an ability called meta material optic distortion camouflage. And I'm thinking, dang, how come more people should use that then? You know, you'd think it's a pretty like good ability in this kind of game. Get behind people easily. Sinan, you know, then asks if there's a chance that, you know, if he, you know, he died in that explosion. To which Kirito says no. Of course, that would be way too easy if he died from that. But Kirito says he saw him jump off the horse right before the truck exploded, and he wouldn't doubt that he's, you know, he's harmed. He's unharmed. He doubts that he's unharmed, but he's definitely alive still yet. Sinan then, you know, she asks him, you know, how he got to her so quickly back at the stadium. And then that's when Kirito talks about how he realized that Gunner X wasn't Death Gun, since Gunner X, whose name is actually Musketeer X, was actually a woman. And obviously Death Gun isn't a woman. And after he defeated her, he saw Sinan on the ground from his position, and he took Gunner X, or Musketeer X, gun and grenades, and ran back to Sinan, and that's why he started shooting at Death Gun and threw the grenade. And since, you know, after that, Sinan is still down on herself and blaming herself, like she should have known, and Kirito tries to tell her, you know, it's not her fault. If it was swapped around, it would have happened to him too. He didn't realize that. He didn't know that either. But Sinan is, you know, even more down as, you know, Kirito, who she sees as her rival, is, you know, consoling her, and because she's weak, and that's her rival. She doesn't want to look weak in front of her rival, you know. After that, you know, Kirito then decides, you know, he's gonna go alone. He explains his reason, you know, if something like happens like that again, he'll have to leave her, and he's trying to make himself like, you know, just stay here. He doesn't want her to get hurt, you know, and you can't log out for one thing in the tournament, so he tells her, you know, just to stay there and rest, and he'll go. And then, you know, she's like, Sinan's like, you're afraid of him too? And Kirito says, you know, yes, I am. And Kirito says, you know, before he would have been scared to die. I mean, he wouldn't have been scared to die against Death Gun, but now he can't die because he has a lot of things to protect in the virtual and in the real world. And I'm like, yep, it's my boy Kirito. But after that, Sinan then brings up the option that they could just hide and wait it out. And when there's only 3 of them left, they can just kill themselves and let the person win. Probably Death Gun, obviously. But Kirito can't do that, since, you know, he can't just let more people die to Death Gun. And honestly, yeah, you don't know how many more people are going to be killed by Death Gun. So after that, Sinan then says that, you know, she won't run either, and she will go out and fight him because, you know, back there she was scared of dying, and she was even worse than she was 5 years ago. And you know how big that is to her. She doesn't want to be weak, so she would rather die than, you know, live scared, pretty much. She then tries to leave, but Kirito won't let her and says, you know, no one dies alone. When someone dies, the part of them inside someone else, you know, also dies. And he says, you already live inside me. And I'm like, worded that better. It sounds so weird. You live inside of me? Okay. But after that, Sinan, she says that's impossible, and she's never given herself to anyone. And Kirito says, we're already involved with one another. And I'm like, dang, what's going on? Nope. Then Sinan starts to like really, really just break down and starts crying. Says, "Oh, you'll protect me for the rest of my life? You don't know anything. You can't do anything. Don't say that this is don't say that this is my battle and no one else's. Even if I lose, even if I die, no one has the right to blame me. Or will you carry that burden forever?" And I'm thinking, dang, just laying it all out. She then says, the last thing she says, "Will you hold the hands of a murderer?" And it then shows Sinan with all these children around her calling her murderer. She, blood all over her hands. And she just cries and cries her heart out right there. After that, she's then, with Kirito. She's like, "I hate you, but let me rest or let me lie down." She lies down on his lap and, she tells Kirito about the incident where she killed the guy and how she thought that since, it was different in this game and how maybe if, she could become the strongest in this world, then she could become strong in the real world and she could forget the memory. But back there with Death Gun, she was scared, and at some point she stopped being Sinan and started being her real self again. Scared. At that point, Kirito then, of course, talks about, how he killed someone too, and how he tells her how he was a Sword Art Online survivor, and the whole laughing coffin, event, the incident where they went and attacked him to try and take him in, and how he had to end up killing people, killing two of them, and how he forced himself to forget until yesterday when he met Death Gun again. Not again, but when he saw Death Gun. And the episode ends with him saying, he has to finish things with him here in this world. And it showed like Kirito in Sword Art Online with this hooded guy who, I don't know, probably Death Gun back in when they attacked Laughing Coffin. And that was a really good episode. I give the episode an 8 out of 10. Had some pretty crazy action, getaway, and then a lot of, finally laying out the feels train, them talking about their emotions, about what happened. Sinan finally admitting, what's wrong and what happened to her, why she's acting like this, and what happened to her back then to Kirito. And Kirito also tells her finally, he's a Sword Art Online, SAO survivor, and the whole ordeal and why he's doing this and stuff and why he has to fight him. And I can't wait for next episode because I'm pretty sure it's probably, finally, I'm thinking Death Gun versus Kirito, like a real head-to-head match. And I don't know, Sinan, I guess, on the side helping too? I don't know, but I can't wait for the next episode, guys. And as always, this is a discussion as well as a review. So if you want, comment below what you thought about the episode or what you want to talk about the next episode, what you're looking forward to. Or if you have a question for me, also comment that below as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Anime Kingdom discussion and review. See you guys.